Welcome to the second episode of various Xenopunks. I'm your host, Nicola Casimir, and various Xenopunks is a part of megax.fm. Today we have our first guest, and it's Daniele Cosmo from Lux Records.
Hi everybody.
He's gonna take us through some of his favorite Italian wave, dark wave, minimal obscurities and talk through history of those records, some side informations, and I'm gonna ask him some questions about his label, his musical life, and things that come spontaneously in my mind. Yeah, hope you enjoy. Be
All right.
active in the chat because a live stream always has a feedback loop. We can always answer to your chats. I'm excited and let's go.
Yes, thank you for inviting me first. I'm really happy to see you. It's been a long time, actually more than 2 months that we don't see each other. So happy to see you, happy to be here actually. And the first track that you heard, it's a Central Unit, Saturday Night. And it's a track from 84 from Bologna. The band was from Bologna. And I think the whole new wave movement in Italy started from there, Bologna. And I thought it was a good beginning. And the track is actually really cool. It's been repressed a few years ago by Mannequin Records. Yes, that was the first track. And we can go to the second one, which is a band from Verona, actually. They are called Dirty Action. And the track is called Bandana Boys.
Fighting all night long. Now it's time to look for a new solution. Waiting for the revolution. Wild boys love the rhythm. 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 Sexy sounds of fighting fight. Sexy sounds of fighting fight. Sexy sounds of
So that was Dirty Action with Bandana Voice. It's really funny, the final rap. Very naive, very 80s. But the rest of the track is sung in Italian, and there are not too many bands that sung in Italian. I tried to pick up the one that actually did it, because obviously in Italy the language was English. Every band was like singing in English, like also the first one, Central Unit. And yeah, and it's a funny track, a dirty one, and kind of unpolitically correct, like a lot of those bands in the 80s were trying to be provocative and such. One part says si cibano di nemici ammazzati, which means they feast on killed enemies. Yeah, they have a very different ideas of what music was about. It was not about unity, but it was fronting and disrupting and destroying and not having any solution ready for the future. But first thing, let's just destroy everything. That comes from the punk, and they were all like songs of punk music. So shall we go to the next one?
Yes, let's go to the next one.
A very interesting group that comes from Livorno, I think, or Savona. I don't remember exactly. And they're called the XS. And they had a tape out in 1984. And out of these tapes, Synthetic Shadow Records re-repress it. And the track that I selected for this one is Ghiaccio. And that one is also a mix of English and Italian singing.
Do you know, they have a track called Zurich. Do you know the connection? Or why they named the track Zurich, actually?
Well, to be honest with you, it's about drugs. Yeah.
Like a drug connection, like people would go to Zurich to buy drugs or what?
I think, in the 80s, Zurich was very much considered a place where you could... that came in the 90s or late 80s, early 90s, but it was a freer place, and many were coming here to just get the stuff. And obviously also many people got hooked on heavy drugs and they really destroyed themselves on that. So not really a funny story for many people, but that was a big part of this movement.
Also, what I saw on Discogs is kind of, they were doing like AKS, like what's his name? Joe
Delirio.
Yeah. Like he had an AK called Aurelio Laloni. So what is his real name? Is it Aurelio Laloni?
Yes,
or is the other one his AK?
Joe Delirio, it's just like the typical the typical 80s get a nickname that sounds that could be spelled in Italian and that has some English influences. But Aurelio Laloni doesn't sound as cool as Joe Delirio, no?
Yeah, true that.
So the track is called Ghiaccio, and let's hear it.
Yeah. I have one other favorite track from them. It's like Walking Down the Subway.
Yeah. It's
really
also
cool.
repressed here.
It's also here, okay.
Yeah.
Niente di te. niente di me, niente, niente di te, niente, niente di me, niente, niente di te, niente, niente di me, niente, niente di te, niente, niente di me, ghiaccio, ghiaccio, ghiaccio.
So they were the XS with Ghiaccio. Ghiaccio means ice, of course. And we skipped the part where he sang in English, but it's okay. There was enough. It's really fun what he says. It's your eyes of ice and your lips on fire are not telling me anything good, and you will eat me alive. And yeah, just the typical Italian stuff that they mix dark stuff and some sexual whatever. Typical. So the next track that I was planning to play, it's much slower than this one, and it comes from a compilation that brought together two interesting scene, one from the north, the Great Complotto from Pordenone, and one from the south, Macchinario Retro. And they had this compilation. One side was from Pordenone, one side from Taranto, Puglia, of course. And the track is from Vena, and it's called Insane. And well, it is interesting to know how, Switzerland is pretty small, and yet there are so many different realities that never talk to each other. And yet in Italy, they were getting along very well together. People from the extreme north, like Pordenone, it's almost next to the Yugoslavia. Well, to what's Croatia is the first country of, yeah, and Puglia. Let's hear it.
Or Slovenia maybe as well. Was right now, yeah.
Once again, it was Vena with Insane, and there was a band from Taranto. I think they're still active somehow, but I have no idea, to be honest.
Before we go to the next song or video, I was kind of wondering, how did you come across this music or get involved into this scene, and when?
Yeah, well, honestly, I have no idea this music existed when I was young. There was no internet, no social medias, nothing. There were only record stores, and you could only get to know what was in on the record stores. And with some friends, we started to like goth music. That was our first impression on.
What was the year, kind of?
I would say 1991.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was 14. Yeah, no, 15. Sorry. And we were going to Verona, which was the only record store that had goth music back then. And we were starting to buy Joy Division, Cure, We just liked the music, and back then it was very comparted. There was no mixing between scenes. If you were a goth, you had to wear your goth uniform. If you were China, there was like the socialist people. You were supposed to think and wear something, and the poppers were there too, and the punks.
How big was the scene back then? I mean,
They were all very locals.
the blooming times were past, I guess. No.
It was past because
And rave came along and already
Yeah,
was
it
also
was-
super commercialized
yeah,
back then.
true. It was there was a lot of house music, acid house, and stuff like that, and we did.
Italo house, no?
Yeah, but that was really the commercial side of it, and we didn't even take that into consideration. But we ended up at some acid parties just because of the good drugs you find there. That was the only reason. But even drugs were comparted, like everybody had their
Every
own
scene
drugs.
had- yeah, sure.
There was a list of things that you were supposed to do when you were part of the community.
Else, no
Places
go.
to go, things that you should say and you should not say. It was very militant somehow. Every subculture was extremely militant, and there were a lot of fights. The gods were the most picked up because we were not really able to fight, so that was okay.
Also funny that, I don't know if you play it later. I think one member of KKD. It's funny how people make the musical switch from the 80s till 90s, and somewhat fail or super commercialize, maybe to make money or
Yeah.
whatever.
Like some of them had no other reason to go on other than music, and back in the 90s, dance music was gigantic, so there was a really easy way to make money, an easy way to make music. There were these kind of really powerful, gigantic workstation from Roland, the digital workstation.
Yeah.
So they were all selling for nothing their analog gear, buying this stuff and making dance music. And they, like our coast, Jesolo, Bibione, there were gigantic clubs there for like 4,000 or 5,000 people. And with one track you would make so much money.
And those tape bands in the 80s didn't make any money, or did
No,
they?
zero.
Zero.
It
no.
was really done because they felt it was the right moment to do such things.
Good.
So shall we play a video now?
Yeah. What you got in store?
Yeah, well, one of my favorite band from those days, they're called Kirlian Camera, with a fantastic singer, Simona Buja. The track is from '84, and it's called Blue Room, and they even had a video for that, or '85, sorry. And, well, let's have a look at it.
I really like their 81 mini album. And I think she was part of that group till 88, and then she just suddenly left them. Maybe overworked, maybe tired of that genre.
Yeah. Like at a certain point, no matter how much you believe in it, when you are like hooked in your routine and you just like lose. And I think those years were extremely intense, and they gave so much. And at a certain point, you have nothing more to give, and no one is ready to listen to you anymore as well. There was one big thing, back then there were so many record labels that were ready to pick you up, Italian, Roxy, and concert. A lot of places they were doing concerts, and at a certain point, they just got tired, and there were no more place for you. And many people went different direction, and many just like disappeared.
Also, she had an AK called East Wall. Can you
Yes.
tell us more about East Wall?
Well,
They went very Italo disco at later stages.
yeah, well, they tried different ways, but in the beginning they weren't like that. Time ago, somebody did an official release of the very first demo tape called 1984 from Eastwall, and it wasn't Italo at all. Maybe we can listen to it later if you want.
If we have time.
it wasn't Italo at all, and it was Chiari, which was part of Killian Camera, and he left because he wanted to do more dance music. And but they weren't really able to pick up. So Bergamini, which was the founder of Killian Camera, got asked to make the arrangements for the track, and they went totally into Italo, and then they had those super successful couple of records. One that has Ice and Fire in it and Silence that went super well. I think they even at a certain point signed with a big record label like CGD, which was an Italian bigger, one of the mainstream record label, but nothing came out of that. So yeah, it was their idea of try to make a living out of music. Though many of those bands, they never made any money. As you said, they were living in squats, doing just that and nothing else.
Okay, let's take a listen.
Yeah, Killian Camera, Blue Room, really cool track.
Enjoy. us. Yes, we're back.
Yeah.
We got some questions. There were two questions by Lord 420G. So
Good. Shoot it.
the second one was because it's kind of beautiful with video. What kind of support they had, at maybe money wise, he means it, they had back in the days for production, or was this all DIY?
No. They were paying everything by themselves.
Yeah.
There was a nice story by another band called Litfiba, and they went in the studio to record their first 12-inch, and they were in the studio for like 4 days, and they pay like 1 million lira, which is like about 500 euros now, but it was a lot more back then. And they had to pay it by themselves. They had rates, or they were working, so no support. There was only the one that were making money were having support. All those small bands, they had zero support.
And the first question, also by Lord 420G, was, I think, I don't know if he meant that just dark wave scene related. How is the scene? How did it evolve from the 80s, 90s, 2000s till now? Is it still active? Does that scene still exist?
Not
Is it-
really. No, I mean, it died in the 90s with dance music and a lot less concerts, and there were new movements coming out, and this one kind of regressed to a point of non-existence. They were just like the hardcore lovers like us, but they were maybe like once a month a night where you could go, and very few concerts, and not really a gigantic amount of bands that were doing this music. And well, nowadays it divided. Well, then in the 2000 there was this sort of revival with this electroclash. Bands like Fisher Spooner, The Ecker, they were taking a lot of inspiration, the Gigolo records, and now nowadays the scene is divided into the vintage lovers, the one that go to the Modern Mode on Wednesday at the Palestra,
and repress labels.
the repress label, but they are the one that somehow try to mix it, something new with something old, and also those DJ, they try to mix new stuff with old stuff, try to have a critical standpoint on that one and have fun with the music, taking for what it was. Also the naivete, the excitement of those days, and try to replicate it today. And this is a big thing in the Netherlands, for example. Here it's not. We tried it with Lux Rec to bring it a little bit about, but
We come later
with,
to Lux Records.
more or less successful or unsuccessful
Don't be
results.
like that. Also, just for people that are new into this music, which labels would you recommend to dig? Maybe contemporary or
Yeah, there is few that are doing
like a starting point, maybe.
well. Minimal Wave from Veronica Vasica. It's a really great beginning. Dark Entries, and of course Adriani Mannequin Records, which he did an amazing job in bringing up very known and unknown stuff, but and try to mix it nicely with new stuff. I think
You've been friends for quite some time, no? Or
yes,
am I
yes,
mistaken?
we are friends for.
He played a couple of Lux parties already.
Yes, yes. He was at Kaut last year.
Last year.
And I think he really did a great job in bringing this music back alive, but not just being a revival, because there are many other record labels that are really doing a great job at that, like Onderstroom from Belgium, and another one which did this underground Belgian wave series, but they are very related to their vintage attitude, and Adriani really tried to bring a fresh look at that, and Veronica too as well. And
Did you ever have Veronica over?
No, no. But she's from New York.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to
Yeah.
bring her here. But it was always in my mind. And
She
she's a
also
real
DJs, no?
yes.
Ah.
And she's a great woman too. I mean, really smart, really like enlightened when it comes to music. But there are other nowadays there are thousands of tapes label like Metamoto, like Soil. They are doing a really good job at bringing that spirit with new musicians. And but it's very difficult to follow because there is not anymore a place where you can go and like look for it. And
It's
Pinkman,
fragmented all over the internet.
yes, Pinkman is not doing represses, but is definitely trying to bring the same spirit out. And Patrick is a really good friend, so I really respect what he's doing throughout the years.
Thank you. Let's
Shall
go to
we play the next one?
Yeah.
So the next one is one of my favorite track from back then. Really, like I loved it, and I still love it to the bones. Although I listened a million times. The band is called Cancer. They only release on this compilation. The track is called Wheels, and it's from '93. It's out of the Great Complotto, the same group of people that I was telling you about before. And well, I don't think they really knew English back then. So they mix words and they invent some others.
It's basically a bunch of gibberish words.
Yeah, and the usual one or the very common one. Let's hear it. It's a fantastic track.
In the past, there was no way to a reality could be proved until he should devote a super hands for nuclear project. Set of crowns, tapes are provided. Automatic tape detector not. You are still not by the tech pitch. Is the picture Nazis on the heading word from the children? Jesus conventions were all replied on the same program. If you want to rewind the tape, hold it, set in which opposition.
that was Cancer with, what was the track name?
Wheels.
Wheels. To the love, to the wheels.
Yeah. I mean, you might have noticed how random the lyrics was, but I think it's also part of they couldn't care less if it made sense what they were doing. They were just doing it, and it was really like, as somebody said in this kind of DVD that I was watching it just to prepare a little bit this episode. The thing was not being able to do something. The thing was doing something and being there. That was it. That was already a reason to do that. The next one is instead a little bit more constructed, although super short. And it's a band from Modena, and the track is from 1983. The band is called KKD, and the track is
That's
called And Your Mind.
It's a acronym for Criminal Killer Division.
Yes.
And your mind will walk in the dark. Feel with reason right now to fall your eyes to see the light of reason. If you are able to have your dreams, then we can find the real one. But your mind will walk in the dark again. But your mind will walk in the dark again. And your mind will walk in the dark again. Your mind will walk in the dark again. You can't escape, you can't save yourself. Your mind will walk in the dark again. Feel with reason when night is born, your eyes will see the light of reason. If you are able to have your dreams, then we can find the real one. But your mind will walk in the dark again. But your mind will walk in the dark again.
Here we are. Super short, as I said.
Super nice track.
Sorry. And we had some question about Lux Rec.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
We will play one more, and then
Yeah,
we will get
and then
to
we will
Lux
discuss,
Records. But
something of that.
some really good question.
And the next one, it comes from what am I playing now? Yes, from Siena, and it's LAS Crime has been repressed. Well, it was never really pressed before. It was only a demo tape from 1985. Domestica, a Spanish record label, repressed it.
Oh, I love Domestica.
Yeah, it's a really good record label. And
Some of my all-time favorite, like the Fernando Galago, is
Yes.
the name, no? Wow.
Yeah.
So
I never
dark.
met him personally, but well, they have done a really good job between our
But
those compilations.
where do they get those like demos from? I mean,
Mm,
they never
they-
got released. They're clearly from the 80s, and they're so obscure and
I would be
so dark.
I would be very curious too,
Yeah.
because something that those labels are very not willing to tell you is where they get their contacts.
Yeah, really, but he's super. I had a little chat with him on Instagram. He's very open-minded, but they're really like focused on their graphic design as well. I
Yeah.
think they're all graphic designers. That's why they do those cutouts and everything on their covers, like inlays, everything. The one with the red, with the crosses cut out, and then with the red inlay.
Yeah,
Such
or
a nice
this,
design.
the blue one, something like art something, I don't remember. American band, really, really cool. The name escaped me now.
Yeah, check
But,
Domestica.
It's a really good label.
Yeah.
Although
totally.
I'm not so sure how active they are anymore.
No, they're still released. I think they released recently, but it's like 1-2 records a year, maybe.
Yeah,
Not
before
more.
it was absolutely massive, the output that they had. Like every month there was some Domestica stuff to check. And now I think it's also related to the vinyl decrease sale, which I hear is going to be, or it was, and it is already something real. But
And
let's
you can't always find new stuff. I mean, the 80s are
I
limited,
still
maybe.
there is this guy that does vinyl on demand. This German guy. I saw a picture of his flat, and he has this wall, but really a gigantic wall, tapered
Full
with
of tapes.
cassette from back then. So I believe there is still a lot of
love
music to be discovered. But
Okay. let's hear
LAS
it.
Crime, 5 Lies.
A night without light, walking in the strange place, seems guilty down in the black water, and my nightmares make love. The first and second are smiling, third and fourth are thinking, the last is dying. 5 lies is my prize. By myself, I'm a beautiful nothing to make your life of it. Every day is the same, and time goes by. I remain in my bed, kissing my dreams that run away. The first and second are smiling, third and fourth are thinking, the last is dying. 5 lies is my prize. By myself, I'm a beautiful nothing to make your life of it. A night without light, walking in the strange place, sense guilty down in the
So we're back. Yeah, Daniele, let's talk about your label Lux Records.
Yeah,
Um,
why not?
I mean, next month it would have been the 10th anniversary of Lux Records
Yeah.
with some two really crazy parties. Uh,
Yeah.
can we spoil it? No.
Well, now I
Not
don't
every-
think they happen anymore. So yes, we can. Why not? Why not? And it was the 10th of May actually would have been our 10 years anniversary, because the first record that we released was 10 May 2010. And but we didn't want to do something on the 10th because it felt a little bit
Over the top.
yeah, greatest hits, right?
Bravo, X
yeah,
Lux Records.
but we divided it in two, and there were two records that kind of were well, every record that we released, honestly, we did it for the reason that we love at that moment. But obviously, not every record.
Stays with you forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, not every record became relevant.
Mhm.
And there were two that actually really meant a lot to us. One was obviously with Elena Hauf, and she wasn't really that big at the moment that we released, and we were friends already way before then. And we did this record together, and it put us on the map somehow. Before, we were the classic underground record label that tried to do something, and her record really made that kind of move for us to be noticed, to be relevant, to be listened to.
How did you meet her?
Actually, online, I was listening to some of her tapes about 8-9 years ago, and I really liked what she was doing. And we were chatting, and I invited her to play here. There was no chance for her to come right away. Then she invited me to play. She was a bartender at a Golden Poodle, and she invited me to play there. And we went there.
Did she DJ already?
Yes.
Okay.
She was DJing.
But she didn't have many gigs.
No, she had almost no gig. And then I could invite her to play. I really don't. Zukunft was the first time that I played with her.
Mhm.
And then we played together at many seasons ago at the Lethargy. There is still some pictures of us together. And the time that she was there, we even did a podcast for Lucky A-Team at his place. It was really nice. And from there on, she picked up and she became who she is. And it's really great where she went. So, and she agreed to come down and to play with us at Couch. And the idea was the 1st of May to have her there. And on the garage, there would have been Flavio doing his Club Dementia set and a special beatless session from CCO with machine. So it would have been super packed up there too. But I think it would have been the best family dinner that we could have had.
And what would be the second
The
record?
second one is the one and only collaboration that we ever did, and it's a blue one. I mean, you know that
I
Lux
know
Rec
it, I
is black and
know
white, but there is one blue record, and it's with Pinkman. That's why I was saying before, this friendship with Patrick, it's something that goes deeper than just like knowing each other because of record labels. We really appreciate what we have done through the years, and we really like each other, and we consider us friends. I would say so. At least I do. And so Zukunft gave us the possibility to do the 15th of May together with the band that was released on that compilation, which was, I guess, you know who they are.
Yeah, that was the Elektronische Sequenzproleten before the name ever would come up as a band name. But actually, you named it like this in the
Yes.
German way. So you gave us the name we used later on. And actually, for me, it was also very dear. I hold this release very dear in my discography. It's the first release that I actually like from my discography, I guess, and that I can look back and reminisce on the moment I had in the studio with Valit when we were painting like this wall, and then we went to the studio and jammed for 1 hour and created those tracks, very dirty sounding distortion tracks. And yeah, it also was a phase where we shifted our sound a lot, I guess.
True, true. I mean, I've seen you starting actually, guys. True. But that means only that I'm old. That's the only thing that it actually means. But I do remember there is of all the process that got those 2 tracks on that record, I remember one episode really clearly. And you named the track in one way, and I didn't like it, so I just rename it the way that
Like
I
you
want
usually
it.
do.
Yeah,
Like you did that for the
usually do.
compilation as
And you
well.
were not really happy about that. And Valid says, "Hey, but that's Lux Rec. This is Daniele. You know him. He's like a little dictator, like he does." And that I really had to laugh about it because it's a little bit true, like it's not just mine. There is Domi part of it, which is a vital part of the record label. Uh, 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 Without him, it's really not possible to have done what we have done. But true, I have this kind of despotic way of changing things, doing whatever I like. But it's I don't know. It's our playground, and it is as it's supposed to be, and it's who we are.
What I would like to know is, I mean, you've been into music. How long you've been DJing for as well?
Well, many years. I really don't. I cannot recall when I started because I started to buy vinyls really early, and DJs back then was not really considered cool. It was actually an effort because you had to buy the record, you had to get the right one. Usually, the big DJs got the nicest cuts, like so. I was really like collecting records first, and at a certain point, I didn't know what to do with them, and I started to play them, and people seems like. In need of somebody who was playing the records, and I just did it.
Did you start the label earlier, or is Lux Records your first label?
We started 10 years ago with Domi. We started
Why
to play.
So late? I mean, because it's been like, let's say, 20 years since you started collecting records.
Yeah, probably more. Yeah. But like I really don't like to do things alone. I am not the type of guy. I need inputs.
How did you meet then?
It was really funny. You might not remember that place, but it was called Per la Mode.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. And I was playing there once, and he was there too. And he really liked what I was doing, and he was super drunk actually, and really annoying me with questions and things. And soon later, I should have played together with another friend, but he was not available, or he canceled the last moment. And I asked him, and we played together for the first time, totally coincidentally. And it was a basement of some private party. I really don't remember. And since then we hook up, and we just stuck together, and we were meeting every week, and then we were both listening to the CBS radio station, this Dutch radio station from IF. We started to mix together, do more stuff together, doing radio shows for the CBS and then Intergalactic FM. And at a certain point, I just thought, Domi, we should do something about not just being DJ, because it wasn't really like relevant being just a DJ. And what could we do? We were both not musicians, but we could understand quality, maybe. I don't know, but that's what we thought. It was one of our qualities. And we said, let's start a record label. Why not? And we started to pick up stuff. Soon, the first record came from a Detroit guy, which we really liked it back then, called Jared Wilson. But the second one was already a guy from Zurich, Flo, which then became also my Savage Grounds partner and a really long-time friend. And our idea was really to promote the local scene independently from gender or whatever, we were struggling to get out of the tech house
In Zurich, like the
hegemony.
minimal,
And
in Germany as well.
whoever wanted to come on board, we were more than happy to welcome them. And so the people that we met, mostly they were male. Yes, it is true, but they became friends. Also, I don't want to.
Also, it was a different time, like compared to the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it totally opened up now. Also in terms of people actually playing this music in clubs now, I mean, it gained a lot of traction in the last 2 years. Like, let's say 90s music and 80s music, EBM-ish stuff.
more like 90s, I would
Yeah.
say, which is good. I mean, I'm really happy to see variety. There was a time which was super various what you would listen. You could go to Era in Altstetten, and there was this super nice heavy gay club that was promoting people like Monoblock B, and John Player 2 was playing a lot there. And it was pretty techno. And then there was Ego City, which doesn't exist anymore, more like on the hip hop electronic side, breakbeat electro, a lot of electro. Well, then Tony Molkerai was also a club, Rostoflager, if you wanted to really speed up on techno.
Speed up on tech.
Peter Bell booked us many years ago to do the intro for Miss Kittin and the Hacker, and we just play Italo, only Italo records, because it was our homage to the Hacker, which was a Italo lover. I don't remember how many years ago, but that was, I think I still have the flyers at home. Miss Kittin, the Hacker, and Cosmo and Faber. Well, years.
I'm gonna ask some questions asked from the chat. Again, Lord 420G. He's asking, where do you see Lux Records' musical direction in the next few years? And what are your main directive lines when picking up new talents?
Cool. Well, it's a very easy answer, and yet it's super complicated, because obviously what we pick up is what we think is good, what we think it could be relevant, and what we think heaven has the possibility to be out there as much as we think they should, or he or she should. And like, for example, Kinderhaus Asbest, which released a 12-inch with us, we really thought that after that 12-inch, he would have had a bigger resonance, because we really thought it was a great 12-inch, especially this modern day. And so we didn't see it, and then we will do another record with him, a split this time. Kinderhaus Best on one side and Rosa Nebel on the other side, which is a young guy from Austria.
That's a great transition, because we're actually gonna play it as next.
Yes, true. But to make it to close that answer, we don't really have a direction. We try to, how to say, build up step by step what we think it could be the best or our best answer to what we should be next. That's it. And now we're going to listen a track from Kinderhaus Asbest. It's only a demo version. We don't have neither the mixdown nor the final masters, because we just started to talk about this process only a month ago. And it
Who is
will be
Kinderhaus Asbest?
It's called Eric, and he's a guy from Stockholm, which actually came to play for the Tour de Force last year. And the track will be out in September on a split. There will be 2 from him and 2 from Rosa Nebel. And now we're going to listen to the A2, Washed Away.
Forces in motion, pulling me in, washed away. I'm getting washed away, washed away. I'm getting washed away. Standing by the ocean, looking at the horizon. Waves keep rolling in, licking my feet with his tongue. Dark water, dark waves, forces in motion, pulling me in, washed away. I'm getting washed away, washed away. I'm getting washed away. Cold water, dark waves, forces in motion, pulling me in, washed away. I'm getting washed away. Washed away. I'm getting washed away. Forces in motion, pulling me in, washed away. I'm getting washed away, washed away. I'm getting washed away. Dark water, dark waves, washed away. I'm getting washed away, washed away. I'm getting washed away.
Super short. Yeah, that was Kinder aus us best with Washed Away. Before we skip to the next track, some questions again. Short answers. When will there finally be a new Echo 106 record on Lux Records?
It's gonna be difficult. The two brothers, Bruno and Hans-Rudi, need to put things together and do that. And we are so ready to release Echo 106 again. We did Steinzeit, which is one of the two brothers, Hans-Rudi, and but I've already asked them a few times, and I don't want to beg them, but if they're hearing the show, please, guys, get your shit together, do some music. We are ready to release you once again. So
Then other random question, not Lux related, but your Seal Records podcast. Somebody wants to know what's the last track? What's the first track you started your set on Seal Records?
I have absolutely no idea.
I thought
My
so.
brain is really like not as it was, and
I would
I'm-
say Sabab ne XXX just write Daniele.
Just write me. Yeah, just write me. I'm
direct
gonna tell you.
message and then you will get your answer.
Yeah. Because I really don't even remember how that sounds like. So just write me. I'm gonna listen to it, and I know exactly. It could be House Rafna. I played it in the middle of the set, so it's not that. Just write me.
And Manucher.
My love.
I don't have any spoilers on my mind, and I don't really know when we will party again. I hope soon. June.
I hope so too.
July.
I
Maybe
think
private, 20 people in a small room at Silke, just the best friends.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
that would be good. That would be good. Shall we go to the next one?
Yes.
Yeah. So the next one is again Lux Rec, and this is gonna be out in November. And that's a very special record for us. This guy is from Zurich.
The Carl
It's called
Cave.
Carl Cave. Actually, the second alias that he has is called Carlo Onda.
Young,
And
old?
sorry,
What's his age?
I have no idea.
No idea. Okay.
But
Ever
I
met him?
no, not yet. But we are planning to meet.
A SoundCloud ghost.
No.
No?
Actually, it's a funny story. I bought this tape from Peru,
Mhm.
from this record label called In Club,
Mhm.
and because there was this track called "Fuck You" or no, "Fuck Yourself," sorry, which I really, really liked it, and I haven't even questioned myself. Carlo Onda sounds like a Spanish name, and then I checked the inlay, and it's written, recorded, and produced in Zurich, and then I said, "What the fuck?
Those
Seriously?"
coincidences.
Yeah,
No?
and I had to get to know him. And in November we will do a record together under his alias Carl Cave, and we are gonna listen a demo version of a track which is called "Why So Cold."
Yeah. Oh, why so cold?
Why so cold? Why so cold? Why so cold? This time, come on, hold. Come on, hold. Come on, hold. Me one more time. We might be old. We might be old. We might be old. Next time. Our time won't heal these wounds. Our time won't heal these wounds. Hold me one more time. 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 Oh, 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 hold me one more time. You turn away, you turn away, you turn away, you turn to dust. You turn away, you turn away, you turn away, you turn to dust. I don't believe, I don't believe what my eyes see. There's no relief, there's no relief. Our time won't heal those wounds. Our time won't heal those wounds. They'll just be buried. Oh, hold me, baby, hold me one last time.
Thanks for sharing, and thanks for
Happy
talking
about that.
about Lux Records. Guess a very influential label in Zurich.
Thank you, thank you.
I
Very
mean,
kind
it
words.
influenced us a lot and many other young artists, and I guess it will influence a lot more in the coming years.
Well, I really hope there are no other reason why we would do that. Okay, we have fun doing that, but like if you are the only one having fun releasing records, it's kind of difficult to keep up for so many years. So some response, some relevancy, it's kind of welcome. We never expected to get anywhere as famous as other labels. I don't want to mention any of them, but Genesis P.R. just said one. Like if I could have changed your life, at least I am happy about that. So, I mean, I don't know. It's good as it goes, and anything else is a plus. And if people appreciate and have a different perspective in music, we are not there to send any message somehow. Or better, we try to send the message that diversity is quite okay, and you don't have to be somehow sticking to the rules because they are easier to be
Monetize.
follow. And no, not just about money, be follow. And one big reason also that it's kind of not getting anywhere in Zurich somehow. It's also that we didn't stick to any definition, so people cannot put us in one block, and therefore it's kind of scary because if I can, define you musically, then I know when to book you, and so we were always this kind of let's book them, but who knows what they're gonna do? Will they kill the dance floor? There was once a really funny story many years ago. So one of our mastering guys was Route 66 from Netherlands, and he was telling me once something nice that once he went to a club and
Thanks
he
for
said,
the following.
"Tonight, I don't wanna clean just the dance floor. I wanna clean the streets around the fucking club." And I said it once at Zukunft, and people got really afraid, but it was a joke, But anyway, whatever. Sometimes I wish the Zurich scene would be.
Throw the cigarette.
Valid is throwing a cigarette at me. Thank you. And sometimes I wish that the Zurich scene would be more open to unsafety. I know that safe space is a big word nowadays, but
You mean musical unsafety?
yeah, getting somewhere and not knowing what to get out of it, and just take it and go with the flow. I don't know how to describe, but I miss that idea of going somewhere and not knowing how you would get or when you would get out of that. And sometimes here it's kind of a bit pre-programmed, but Zurich has been really. I can only be thankful because Zurich has been really great to us in terms of as much as they could give us the space that we were asking for. So.
And of course, there are spaces besides club structures that are not just breaking frameworks in terms of musical diversity, but also, let's say, door politics or how to approach. I also like kind of the feeling that the club is in the comfort zone, like that it's an adventure in terms of not only music, but who you will meet and confront. Kind of opens you up, no? If you always are with your same scene, with the same people, with the same class, I mean, what is the point of interacting there and kind of not expanding? So
That is true, but I have to say the clubs were the one that gave us the chance to book our friends. You know,
True.
like
Yeah.
Intergalactic Gary, Fotini, Alessandro Adriani, Parisi. You know, like other places would not have give us a
Totally.
chance to it. And so, I mean, with all the faults and like and constraints that they had, I am personally thankful to those clubs that they gave us, even though a small one, they gave us still a space.
I mean I mean that would be a big discussion point, but we won't go there. Like
Exactly. We want to listen to some music.
is the club framework contemporary? Where could it go? Or, you know, in what could it turn to? And so on, but not this time. Maybe other time.
Exactly. And also maybe with the age, when you realize that whatever you could do, you have done it, and there is not much left, or you are more apt to accept how the situation is. You just like take whatever and do the best out of it. So, I mean, I'm known to be extremely nervous when it comes to organizing nights. Everybody knows that, but I'm still who I am. Let's play some more music.
Okay,
What do you think?
we go back to the
the
80s.
80s, yeah.
We go away from Zurich.
I want to go
from-
back to the 80s.
away from Lux Records and back to the references, maybe.
Yeah, and that's one of a big reference. This one has never been released before. It was a demo tape that it came out in 1985 from these Italian guys called Three of You Toy. They're from Livorno. By the way, that's the second record from Livorno that I play, and AFT, Anna Funk Damage.
Mhm.
It's also from Livorno. And so that's why I picked these two records, because there was a scene back then there. And
But she's
I
influenced by that scene, or no? Or
Yes,
it's a
yes.
random coincidence.
absolutely, well,
Okay,
yes, I think.
the second.
The track is called Isolation.
What's the name of the band again? Sorry.
Three of You.
Three of You. Enjoy.
Isolation.
was.
That
Back.
wasn't.
That wasn't the start.
There was three of you with Isolation, and the next one, it's also from '85, and it's from a band called Krisma. Krisma was two guys, Cristina and Maurizio, from Milan, and the track is
synth
called.
pop, no? Synth pop wave.
They went into synth pop later on.
What
but
kind of famous? Or
they
no?
were super famous,
yeah.
super
Yeah.
famous. But this is in between when they were still trying to be part of the underground and yet sign on a CGD, which was one of the major back then. The track is called Samora Club.
Night is hot, the flame is bright. Better to wait till the time is right. Temple pop, temporal transfer to Samora Club, Samora Club. Adoriente, la luna splende. Don't be concerned. I know the fear, and if I tell you that the clouds are parting, you will know you're welcome here. Here, where the water's still falling, the moon is bright. Dancing, night all night, dancing at Samora Club. So till you're out lights, adoriente, la luna splende. Don't be concerned. I know the fear, and if I tell you that the clouds are parting, you will know you're welcome here. Planetary movement, glass swingment, gamma rabbit rubber, gamma rabbit rubber. We are weightless, images floating, but in the east, nothing is new. And if I tell you that the clouds are parting, you will know you're welcome here. Life, what is intended? What is in Judas' name? What is in Judas' name?
So there was the Milan type of new wave that has always some sort of disco or even Italo attitude, like Art Fine and stuff like that.
And we had to Sicily, huh?
We heading down to Sicily, one of the very few Sicilian minimal wave band, which is called Victrola. The usual track that you hear is called Maritime Tatami. We play another one, it's called The Mutant Glow.
I love that track. Also, they didn't have many releases. I guess one compilation and one release
112-inch.
and one compilation in the 80s, and that's all. And then a big repress lately on Dark Entries.
No, on Mannequin.
No, it's on Dark Entries.
This one.
This one is on.
This
okay.
one is on Mannequin.
Okay.
It's Alessandro.
There was also one on Dark Entries as well. Yeah, enjoy. Let's play it. Before it starts, what's your favorite instrument?
My favorite instrument.
Someone asked.
Low
Low pass filter.
You mean like I like drums, electronic drums, drum machines.
Kawai drum machines for Daniele.
Not only I love every sort of drum machines. I'm into rhythm.
If you would ask me, the X7, all the way the X7. That's
Tubular bells.
such a great synth. If
it's
you
so
have the
difficult
patches,
to program.
it doesn't matter. Once you get in, you're in.
Okay.
Sorry. Now there is no connection between Heather and Alessandro. such sad, dark lyrics. You
yes,
know how
yes.
children dies.
Yeah.
Which is a good transition to the next song called
Yes.
Tortured Love.
Yes.
And before someone asked what is your favorite effect box, but Daniela wants to pass on that question and I have to answer it. Well, there's no doubt about it. It's a old Roland flanger. Best effect
Oh, well.
ever.
I
Like you
don't
hear
say
it
a
on
word.
my drums. Daniele said that's why my snares sound so shit.
But it was just a joke. You called for
yeah,
it.
I know my snares are awesome.
No. So
Okay, back. We're heading towards the end of the show, and towards the end of the show, it's always a great time to self-promote as well, huh? So, as you know, Infoline is a sub-label of Less Points, curated by DJ Webb, Valid El Barbier, and Flavio Audino, and it, the release that just hit the stores this week, I guess.
I got it today.
You got it today, and
Yes.
it hit the stores this week, so you're perfect on timing.
Yeah.
Is the new Savage Grounds, and Savage Ground is Daniele and CCO
Yeah. And Flo.
and Flo, yeah. Yeah, just talk us through the release.
Well, we started to make music a long time ago together, and we have few releases out. But admittedly, also Flo opinion is that together with the 7-inch that we had on Pinkman, this one is one of our favorite. Maybe it's just because it's the last one. I don't
Can
know,
you
but
give me
we
the
really,
record? I show the awesome.
yeah, Vali did an amazing job.
Valid if you need graphics for your art exhibition, your museum, your crazy tape release. He can do everything. Every style you want, he can do it. So also it comes with a patch, huh?
Yeah,
You can
the patch is
mount
amazing.
it on your
really,
favorite jacket and
amazing.
be savage.
Be part of us.
Yeah.
Be one of the Savage Grounds. No, this record is a collection of tracks that we did last year. So they are somehow different between each other, and yet we thought that they really made sense together. There are 6 tracks. And the one that we're gonna play, it's the A1, the first one of the LP, and we wrote it for the live act that we were playing, and it was too good to let it be only on a live set. And the moment that we decided I'm gonna write lyrics for it, it was a very complicated period of my life, and I wrote this lyric for someone, which meant quite a lot. And I sang together with Cleo. Cleo is a friend of ours from Geneva, and
Part of.
part of a band which is called Bound by Endogamy.
Which played the Schwarze Schweiz.
Which
and,
played Schwarze Schweiz.
And it was such a good set. I danced like crazy.
It was a great set.
Ooh,
it was really
those
a great
drums.
set. Shlomo is the other half.
Shlomo Blaster.
Yeah, exactly. And together they are doing this almost a DAF type of concert. So drums, electronics, and Cleo singing and punching the box socket that we had at on Schwarze Schweiz. And they're really great. And she has an amazing voice. She already sang on one Savage Ground track in Greek for the 4-mix compilation. And we sang together this one. I was in Geneva with them to record the voice for one afternoon, one evening. And that's the result of it.
Yeah, enjoy. Infoline 4, I guess.
Yes. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready when you are.
I'm ready.
the last track of tonight's show. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you, everybody.
That was Savage Grounds on Infoline with Tortured Love. We got 2 or 3 minutes left. Afterwards, it's Channel Gecko with Valentina hosting the show with guests. I think Chantal Kaufmann and the other, I don't remember. Last week was super special, like this capitalists critic live set with Piero. So tune into that. You have to switch to that audio, not the Twitch channel. We're gonna see us next week here. Thank you to Daniele.
Thank you very much for having me.
It was a great historic lesson on music.
Well, I hope people enjoy. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It didn't. It wanted to be. It didn't want to be school lesson. More like what I thought touched me so much that allow me to get curious, more curious, and even more curious, and get to know the people behind some project, get to know the people behind some label, getting friends with them, and building something that it was not a scheme or an agenda to get somewhere, but just for the love of what I thought was really applying to my life, and if there is something that you would like to know more, just
Just
write us.
ask. And
Yeah.
we always could do another show on other genres with Daniele and me talking
I was
back and
already
forth.
actually speaking of which, I would really love to do a new beat
Yeah, let's do a new beat.
special.
Let's do a new beat.
Just for Lou, you know, like
Lou.
Lou is at home and he
Yeah, and
cannot really move
he
much.
cannot move, and we will talk.
And I
You
would
and me, we go through new
yeah,
beats.
and
Yeah,
I
we
would
could
like to
that.
do
Or
something for
someone
Lou,
else.
just new
Let's
beat
see.
shit.
So we don't know what will be next week. We will tease you on that once we know it. So it's 10 o'clock. Thank you for listening. Stay a Xenopunk maybe, and till next week.
We are here. We will always be
Lou
here
beat.
till we die.
Bye.